I don't know if he already has it or he's swimming off to the side. He might have swum off to the side a little bit. Yeah. There. They seem to be really on this dead stick, as opposed to the active jigging. Here he is. Go. Nicely done. Lots of fun. And gonna be great eating tonight too. One thing when you're catfishing, and that is that you've gotta, as long as you're fishing with cut bait, you've gotta switch baits. You know, even if you fish that for 20 minutes and don't get a bite, I'd switch baits from time to time. That's very important in attracting catfish. So, just really simple. Right behind the head of the minnow, cut a couple flat portions like that, and that's what's going to go on a plane. It's a Northland Shiner hook, and you notice that I've bent this hook shank down just a little bit, and I'll tell you why as we go through the day. But that helps in hooking just a little bit. So then, one on straight on like that. Another one maybe, instead of straight on, just parallel to hold it on a little bit better. And then typically I just put the head on last, kind of as a keeper. It's going to be in the water column, right like that, right there. There he's got it. Oh yeah. This is a good fish right here. Oh yeah, there he is. A little bit smaller. Nice one though. Nice and fat. They'll all be good for dinner tonight. One of the things we've learned watching with the underwater cameras is that these fish, instead of coming in horizontal from the side like this, is that they see the bait, and oftentimes they'll come and they'll be perfectly vertical as they come up and take that bait. So that's one of the reasons that I bend that shank of that hook down just a little bit. So, and then I also put a little snap on here instead of tying directly with a knot, so that this all hangs a lot more vertical than it would horizontal. And that is the key to allowing those fish to come up like this, grab hold, and then you stick them and you got them. Oh, finally, on the jig. You know, no kidding, most of the time, now honest to goodness, that's the first bite. These fish are so tentative today. You see how important that dead stick can be oftentimes. That's the first bite that I've actually had on this jig all day, and really, honest to goodness, 9 times out of 10, that's the way most of the fish are being caught. And basically, when you're actively jigging, it's just like when you're walleye fishing or just like when you're crappie fishing. You lift, fall to attract the fish, and then you just let it sit there still. And typically, you attract them, they come in, they snap at it. A lot of times, they're hitting very aggressive. Oh, we got one going on the dead stick over there, too. Whoa, slippery. Oh, let's see what we got here. Here we go. There's that fish. Let's get him here. There we go. Double header. One on the jig, one on the dead stick. Doesn't get any better on that, but that goes to show you how important setting out that second rod is, that dead rod. No matter if you're fishing for walleyes, and I use it for perch and for when I'm crappie fishing most of the time too. The thing about catfishing is that if you've watched what I've done today, this is classic fishing for far north kinds of situations where you have to use this cut bait. But if you go in many of the reservoirs across the southern tier of the states where they get ice for maybe a month, maybe 2 weeks sometimes, pond fishing, there's so many different ways to catch these fish. A lot of times you'll be bluegill fishing with teardrops and some kind of grub, and you'll be catching fish in ponds like that. On reservoirs all across from Nebraska through Iowa into Indiana and Illinois, we've been, I catch a lot of fish on the jigging rapala or the puppet minnow, the Northland puppet minnow, just tipped with something. Might be just a minnow head. So there's a lot of ways to catch these fish. Most of the time, you can fish for them just as actively as you do anything else. But the dead stick, as you saw today, also gets a good share of bites.